Why is it that the praises sung about the many aspects of the Sonic franchise are typically centered around the male figureheads, when the women have created things just as beautiful as their counterparts? Now, don't get me wrong, the Tomoyo Otanis, Jun Senoues, Ian Flynns, and Yuji Uekawas of the world can never be replaced, and have created some of the most influential pieces of Sonic media in the world. But their women cohorts have co-worked on some of those pieces, all the while still carving out personal lanes to make their mark on this franchise. The name's Jiggy, and I welcome you with open arms. Stay tuned, because these genius minds are behind some of the things that Sonic fans are still clamoring about to this very day. Hitting the ground running, we have the ever-talented Evan Stanley, the recently appointed lead artist for Sonic's lore team and lead writer for IDW's hosting of the Sonic comics. Evan got her official work with Sonic started way back when Archie was still hosting the Hedgehog on their publication, writing issues 79 through 80 of Sonic Universe, which centered around Silver the Hedgehog battling against a world-eating monster. Her works aren't limited to just writing, however, as Evan has done a ton of both regular and variant covers for other issues as well, in addition to artworks to commemorate holidays like Christmas and National Women's Day. There's also the fact that she's written for the Sonic Boom TV show and worked on the Sonic Frontiers prologue comic, Convergence. But how did this all begin for her though? Well, Miss Stanley was introduced to the Blue Blur in the mid-2000s, and after falling in love with the design, she wanted to take a crack at creating fan comics of the characters. She created a series dubbed Ghost of the Future, which is an excellent read, mind you, and is an alternative reality where Sonic dies at the hands of Eggman using a mind-controlled Shadow the Hedgehog at his side, who then becomes the guardian of the Chaos Emeralds thanks to Tikal of all people. Now, I know that's a lot, but just stay with me. Silver the Hedgehog is then shown to be the protagonist, and after many a plot point, he learns to become something more than he could have ever imagined. A bunch of other fan-favorite Sonic characters are also here to boot as well, and it's not just for fan service. Blaze, Metal Sonic, and even Nicole from Archie make appearances throughout the issues, each with an important role to play in the overarching narrative. Plus, minor, very minor spoilers, but Evan is so obviously a Sylvain shipper and I love it. What's so cool about Evan's work here is that you can see her improvements in real time. The art style she drew these characters in the first couple of issues is not bad by any means, but the progression and proficiency in which she shows all the way up to issue 18 is a sight to behold. Miss Stanley has so clearly captured the essence of these characters' looks and personalities, and I truly do hope that her time frees up soon so that we can get more of these comics. Onto her IDW stuff though, she has written and co-written some of the highest regarded issues amongst fans for the publication's hosting of Sonic. The Urban Warfare run that ran from issues 59 to 61, the Misadventures run containing issues 63 and 64, and even a few Sonic the Hedgehog annual comics as well, including one telling the story of what Big the Cat was up to during the Metal Virus. Considering all the work and proven understanding of Sonic the Hedgehog and his associated characters Evan Stanley has showcased over her almost 20 years of creating content for the Hedgehog, I for one can confidently say that I'm happy that fans like her are still at the forefront of everything that makes this little guy so great. If anything I've mentioned either about her personal works or official material interests you, I more than highly recommend that you check out all of them for yourselves. And on the off chance that you see this, Miss Stanley, my hat's off to you and thank you for caring so much about Sonic as we do. Now, what's the Hedgehog without a little music though? After all, that's the second biggest thing that he's known for, and these next icons made sure of that. What is your favorite Sonic theme and or song? Is it something bouncy from the classic era like a Palm Tree Panic? A more daring approach from the adventure era like Supporting Me? Or perhaps something more magnetic like the sounds of a skyscraper scamper day from the Boost era? The unspoken heroes behind the OSTs to some of your favorite Sonic games of all time, and also your guilty pleasure games that you hate to let people know you like, are Fumie Kumatani and Mariko Namba. These are two women that have worked on a number of Sonic titles over the years, but two titles in particular that fans both old and new are returning to recently are blessing the ears of them once again. Mariko composed and co-composed quite a bit of Sonic 06's soundtrack and is the mastermind behind level themes like Kingdom Valley, sections 1 and 2 of White Acropolis and Aquatic Base, and the holy grail that is Dreams of an Absolution. That is correct. This is the woman that crafted perhaps the best song in that entire game, with people still bumping it and many of the title's tracks almost 20 years later. Miss Nanba's story is one of music piquing her interest at the early age of 4, and throughout her time leading up to college, she'd continue to hone her craft and learn instruments such as the piano. She'd end up sending in a demo tape of her work to Sega in 1994 and was hired almost immediately to begin working on Panic, a point-and-click game for the Sega CD set to be released in that same year. Mariko's first official work with Sonic, however, would quickly begin shortly after that, with Knuckles' Chaotix set to release the following year in 1995. From there, not much is known about her personal life, but her other works include composing for Space Channel 5, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, the Astro Boy video game from 2004, Circus Park from Shadow the Hedgehog, which is a danger, and even several tracks from Sonic Rush Adventure, just to name a few. Her compatriot I mentioned earlier, Fumie Kumatani, is also responsible for much of the music that you'll find in every Sonic Tubers video as well. Much like Mariko, Miss Kumatani's love for music started at 3 to be exact, and her love for music only blossomed from there. She has gone on record to say that her plan of attack for creating masterpieces is to visualize the atmosphere and spectacle associated with the scene or stage, and to also sing aloud to precisely figure out exactly where the music should begin. Many of you probably know her for her assistance with or just flat out composing herself the following. Miss Kumatani is limited to not just Sonic though, with her efforts on other Sega IP like the Phantasy Star series and Burning Rangers taking that side of the company's fans by storm in addition. Both of these women are behind quite literally most of our childhood obsessions and love of Sonic music. Those tracks that stick with you and make these worlds feel more lived in, more authentic, and most importantly, more exciting to replay through time and time again, no matter even if it is 2 decades later. Here's to hoping that we get them again someday, since their last works were reportedly some time ago, but only the future knows. The music is nice, but what is Sonic the Hedgehog without style though? The way these characters look often tell us whether or not we should be hyped and invested in the series anymore, since after all, humans do eat with their eyes. It's good to know that the ladies have us covered on that front as well, however. You ever see a Sonic drawing or character design and just go, man? Well, if you said that at any point in the past 29 years, you have Yui Karasuno, Tomoko Kanemoto, and Sachiko Kawamura, the queen of Sonic, to thank in part. Going from the most recent to the longest running, we're going to start off with Miss Yui Karasuno, who was responsible for a huge chunk of art you've come across on the Sonic Channel website. Yep, that means that this, that, surprisingly this, and most recently this, are just about all the result of Yui's work. She's a contract worker that's been with Sonic Team since about 2017, and aside from drawing Sonic Channel art, she also acts as a supervisor and character artist for the games. Everything from Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games to Shadow Generations. Now, sources state that she's always been a longtime fan of the series, and it really just shows by how much she can capture the rawness of these characters. Remember that Sonic Frontiers and Shadow Generations Sumie artwork? That was Yui. Miss Karasuno is also responsible for a little more than half of the supersonic drawings over on Sonic's official Japanese YouTube page, which are usually quick tidbits on how she styles the various characters like Modern Sonic and Tails, Classic Amy, Shadow, Silver, Fang, and Trip. Now, who does the other half, you may be asking? Well, I'd like to introduce you all to Tomoko Hayane, who is also known in the real world as Tomoko Kanemoto. Why do I say real world? Well, that's because she is Sonic Team's in-house VTuber, of course. VTubing has been huge in Japan since about the mid-2010s, and seeing as the country's market has always been a bit of a rocky start for the Hedgehog, Sonic Team saw an opportunity. Miss Hayane is the person who's done the other half of the supersonic drawings that I mentioned earlier, with her taking over for characters like Classic Sonic, Sage and the Coco, Modern Eggman, Classic Knuckles, and Blaze. While not much is known about her personal story and how she became linked to Sonic Team, we do know that her earlier works stem from being a graphic UI artist for Mario and Sonic at the 2016 Olympic Games, with other efforts cited for games like Sonic Superstars and Shadow Generations as a character supervisor. As for the other art ventures, Tomoko created the Otherworld Comedy, which are gag comics that show different Sonic characters in various scenarios and offers a summary to detail what's going on. Shadow kicks Infinite to the curb since he believes that he can't keep up with their vocal performances, Amy reading off Blaze's tarot cards to better help her understand her struggles, and Silver and Elise ice skating together. You know, things of that nature. Fun fact, she is also the reason why Super Eggman exists, so take that how you wish. Her images also appear all across the Tokyo DOC stage in Shadow Generations as well. Tomoko will also do these Sonic news drops on the YouTube channel to keep viewers up to date on releases and the like, but that's about as much as I could find out on her. Last but certainly not least is the queen of Sonic, Sachiko Kawamura. She is not only yet another goated designer and artist for Sonic Team, but also one half of the masterminds behind the widely loved Chao and the gameplay for the Chao Garden. Miss Kawamura has been with Sonic Team ever since Sonic 3D Blast way back in 1996 and still works for the company to this day. Her most recent work was on Sonic Frontiers as a producer for the game. She's been recognized in virtually every single Sonic game that's ever come out, spin-off or otherwise, and has even contributed to crossovers like the Olympic Games and Super Smash Bros. Not only this, but when it came to Sonic's refresh for the Boost game starting with Unleashed, she was once again one half of the party that the design can be attributed to, and this possibly led her to becoming the main art director for the mainline series. Sachiko is slated as having a love of all things related to Sega, enjoying the game since her academia days, and beautiful works that she's done can also be found in series like Sakura Wars, the 2019 reboot, as a graphic supervisor, and also Choo Choo Rocket, where she was one of the main artists for that game. The impact of Miss Kawamura will forever be felt, as these games, no matter how bad they may play sometimes, always look beautiful. Women have helped Sonic the Hedgehog dominate the gaming industry for almost 35 years. Of course, depending on who you ask, dominate may be a loose term, but one fact still remains at the end of it all. These things, Sonic things, whether it be music, art, or the stories we consume, all mean something to somebody, and I think that's really beautiful. Their male counterparts may get the most praise from the common audience, but I think it's really important to know that this kind of stuff doesn't just fall on one individual at any point of the creation process. Unfortunately, I couldn't mention every single woman that has poured blood, sweat, and tears into this franchise, and I do apologize for that, but every single one of them deserves their flowers and then some. And the same could be said about the men, the non-binary members, anyone who has taken part in creating the series that we love so much. But in a world where women are often given things to worry about, it's important to take time and celebrate the accomplishments they have and reassure them that anything is possible. Should there be one thing that I want everyone to take away from this, look deeply into the things that you care about and the people behind them. You'll find some amazing folks at the end of that tunnel, I promise. I'll catch you all in the next one.